The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
The Gloves Are Off, this week's edition. I'm Moses Woldu, and I'm pleased to be joined by these guys, these fine gentlemen over here, looking very dapper.
I didn't get the time memo.
No, you keep it, but you got the bright yellow socks. You know what? When you're not calling chuck wagons, Bucky, you seem to be finding local areas to bowl. And that's what happened to you last week.
A rain-out broadcast for the chuck wagons at the Meadow Lake Bowling Alley, and we had drivers in the CPCA Bowl. You know, there is a lot of similarities between chuck wagon racing and bowling. Don't let you fool you.
And apparently the broadcasts on the radio were quite riveting. I'll tell you what, you did a fantastic job for the last 3 years. You were the co-chair of the Hartnell, MacArthur, and Hopley Celebrity Golf Classic. Over $500,000 was raised in the 3 years. It was a fantastic accomplishment. Bill Spence, glad to have you on.
Thanks for having me, Moses. Yeah, no, it's been a 3-year venture, or 5 years basically when we first started, and to sit here and say that we raised over $600,000 is something that Scott Wilkinson and I and the rest of our board and the 3 celebrities that jumped on board can be very happy with.
And I'm sure in a few years' time we'll probably have something similar in the making. And how about this, though? We'll get to the topics. And first and foremost, talk about the Olympics. The NHL, the IIHF, and the International Olympic Committee have finally agreed NHL players will be participating in the Sochi Olympics come February. Now, the big thing is who will play on Team Canada. They announced their 40-man roster, 47 players that were invited to the orientation camp, which is almost a precursor to saying, you know what, you're one step closer to making the team. However, there are a few names that were left out: Jerome McGinley, Martin Brodeur. Are there any others that you were surprised that were left off that list?
Probably Ben from Dallas. You know, I think he's a good two-way player. He's a good physical guy. Has a lot of skill too. Probably one of those guys, and there's a few other ones, but probably Ben stands out for me.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think there's a changing of the guard when you look at the list. There's a lot of the younger generation coming up, and the Brodeurs and those guys are starting to be exited out. They've done their time and they've been successful. I think the key part is the start of the season. One of these young guys who steps up and impresses the coaching staff and gives them an opportunity to step in and be an addition late in the year.
One of the goalies that is involved, there's about 15 players from the 2010 Vancouver team that will be participating or at least invited to this camp. I'm assuming they'll be making it. One, my personal favorite to be in net is Roberto Luongo, of course, who I think has done a fantastic job considering what he did last season to prove that, he could still play. But there are some others that are also involved. You have Cam Ward's missing, but you have guys like Braden Holtby, and that's the next guy we want to talk about. Holtby was invited, along with Corey Crawford. You have Smith from Phoenix. Can you tell me, where does Holtby stand, and can he probably take that second or third spot? I know you got Carey Price in there too in the mix, but can he even make this roster?
No, I don't think so. I think it's great for him to get the invite, and it's showing that they want him to get into the system more than anything. He's a young guy that they want into that the Hockey Canada system. He's just too young. His resume is not very deep right now, too. He could stand on his head at the start of the season and get a shot, but the chances are it's going to be Bobby Lou and Price, and then after that, maybe Crawford.
Yeah, I agree. Luongo, as much abuse as he's taken, and I'm not a Canuck fan, but what he's done, and he's won the gold, I think it's his starting job to maintain or to lose. And I agree with Bucky that with Braden being invited, first of all, congratulations. To be one of the top 5 goalies in his young tenure in the NHL. And like I said to him yesterday, congratulations, well deserved. But I think it's just an opportunity to be in the system. Even if I would say if he's ranked as the 3rd goalie, just to get that experience and know what's going on in 4 years' time with his continued growth, that he may be one of the top 2 goalies at that point. But yeah, just to be able to be around those other elite athletes is a pretty good honor for Braden.
Hey, to wear that hockey sweater is certainly something special, and you never know. If he has a hot start, might be able to sneak in as a third string backup. Hey, I want to get to the NHL divisions now. Of course, you have your standard Pacific, you have your standard Central, you'll have your East. But guys, what do you think, or the Northeast? But what do you think of the Metropolitan?
That's a
division?
Drink, isn't it?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. But first of all, when I think of metropolitan, you think of the large cities. You think of New York. You think of Toronto, places like that. You don't think of Columbus, Ohio, as a metropolitan city. Like, come on. You know, I much rather I can see the regional and the map wise how they do name the Pacific and the West, but how about names? Like use players' names
Yeah, I
like
agree.
Gordie Howe,
Yeah.
Ted Lindsay, names like that instead of using.
But then you get into a whole debate about like
Oh,
why
yeah.
was this player left out? Why was this player chosen? Should you choose players that have been deceased for quite some
you
time?
can come
or
up
do you
with
choose
4
current
names like
players
that, and
Wayne
nobody
Gretzky?
would argue.
Yeah.
You come up with 4 names: Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky,
Bobby Orr,
Larry
Larry Lemieux, right there. There's your 4.
There we go. And then what's the debate?
Or throw it out to the fans to vote.
Yep.
Give you 10 names, you pick the 4, and then allot them accordingly. I'm not a Pittsburgh Penguin fan, but Mayor Lemieux was, as a Flyer fan and have Lemieux division, I could live with that.
Because you look back in the days when we used to have the Adams Conference and the Norris off of owners of the NHL that basically paid their players $25 a year. Well, maybe not that bad, but you know what I mean.
Abused it.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So you would be comfortable, like you said, if you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan, you'd be comfortable seeing a Lemieux Division Championship banner raising up.
Hey, I'd just
at
be
the
happy with any
Philadelphia
banner raising in Philly.
Here in Philly,
Yeah.
he got a goalie?
Yeah. Hey, we brought Hextall back. He's going to be starting by Christmas.
well,
so,
probably.
Yeah. No, it's a joke. Twitter went wild with the Metropolitan, and the other ones were pretty standard, but yeah, the fans were outraged with the naming of
Not
that.
gonna lie, it actually made me hungry for some Neapolitan ice cream when I thought of the name. So hey, we're gonna leave it at that. Maybe you'll grab some ice cream in this 2-minute break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about the Saskatchewan Roughriders and their impressive 4-0 start. Stay tuned.